Good morning and welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and I am a gorilla in the wrist. Today we are looking at the Pagani PD1676. This is homaging a very famous, very expensive, very rare watch that will set you back the fat end of £166,000 if you had the money to buy it. The Pagani Design version, will set you back about £52. But I do still come back to the question, is it worth it? Which seems a bit harsh given it's saving you £166,000. But it's a question I think we seriously have to ask, so let's get into it. So before we dive into the detailed specs, let's just do a very quick run round this one. Box out of the way because I have thousands of those. So what we have is a very attractive homage watch to a very famous Paul Newman watch. It's a chronograph and it is a working chronograph. So the second hand tears away around the dial. It's a panda dial and has some interesting colours, so you'll keep getting a flash of red from around the indices. It's actually a line of red markers, but for some reason it flashes quite powerfully, so that it's very interesting. Let's get a little bit closer onto that dial. There we go. So this has a claimed 39mm dial. When I measured it, it was slightly smaller, around about 38. It is 13.5mm thick. The lug-to-lug again is a claimed 47mm, but they've done that wonderful thing of putting sticky out male end links on it, and therefore by my reckoning it's a 52mm lug width, which makes it slightly more difficult. It has a fairly standard 20mm strap length and is housing the VK63 Mecha Quartz chronograph movement. It has a really nice, very thin ceramic black tachymeter bezel on it. Really nice, actually. I'm quite impressed with that. And the glass is sapphire crystal. It's a fairly basic 3-link oyster style bracelet with brushed outer links and very shiny inner links. We're going to come back to that later, you can bet on it. It does have one of these attempts at a glide lock style clasp, which is okay, a bit difficult to adjust, but okay. But that's a very quick run round of the watch. The chrono pushers are screw down, and there is a claimed 100m water resistance on this. So let me just wind those in. And the crown itself is branded, so decent effort. So running very quickly through the specifications of this watch, the dial width is 38mm, the effective lug-to-lug because of those big male end links is 52mm, but it does come in a decent standard lug width of 20mm. The thickness slightly chunky at 13mm for a quartz. It's housing the Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz movement, weighs in at a reasonable 130 grams, has pretty good water resistance at 100 meters with those push-in screw-in pushers, and has a very decent flat sapphire crystal on it. So let's talk about my gripes about this watch first of all. and I have three really. Two of them are sort of the same thing. So let's start with the one that isn't two of a kind. And my first gripe about this is the loom, which frankly is atrocious. You will have seen the loom video. To be honest, I don't know why they bothered. What little loom there is on the indices themselves sort of holds its own for a little period of time, but then vanishes fairly quickly. The hands disappear almost immediately. So seriously, Pagani Design, I don't know why you bothered. Either spend an extra $10 and put decent loom on it, or don't bother. It just really is pretty terrible. So that's the first one. The second and third gripes are actually about the bracelet, and this is a common theme. So this one isn't terrible. It's not, let's be honest, it's not great. The fit and finishing is okay, but it's just, and it does fit, so I have to give it credit for fitting. But unfortunately their version of the glide lock clasp, whilst they've had a decent go at it, adjusting it is really, really difficult. I can't see it very well on here, sorry. You need to be able to get a strap adjuster tool into a tiny, tiny little gap in there. I can't even see where the gap is at the moment. To move it, it's just not easy at all. A bit of a nuisance. And I think it's supposed to have a diver's extension. It has. It's supposed to have a diver's extension. You need Charles Atlas to get that one open. And again, it's as ugly as sin, so I don't know why you bother. It really is a bit pointless. So the clasp, it's not the worst one I've ever seen, but it's a long way from great. And as you'll probably figure out, I now can't get the bloody diver's extension back in there. Now this may just be incompetent user. It normally is. There we go. You really do need Charles Atlas's strength to get on with that. It's not an uncommon weakness, and I think maybe I need to give them a little latitude, given the price that you pay for these, which was around £51 in the sale. Maybe it's a bit ungrateful to be commented on that, but I kind of have to say what I see. And this one is almost certainly going to be coming straight off of this and onto probably a sort of nice rubber strap. Something with I would imagine a colour that picks out that burgundy type colour. So another $5 again, Pagani Design. Spend an extra $5, I'll pay for it. And put a decent strap on it and get some decent loom. If you were charging 70 quid for this watch with decent loom and a decent strap, I'd buy it. So I think a couple of fairly significant weaknesses for me. So let's talk about the things I like about this watch. And the first one is just the looks. It really is an attractive looking watch. I think that classic, they can't get too much design credit since they didn't actually design it themselves. It is very clearly homaged. But it's just really nicely done. I particularly like that thinnish ceramic bezel. And I was looking and comparing this against my 1645, which I'll try and get in the same shot. Now I don't know if it's a trick of the light, but the bezel on that seems much bigger, much thicker, and the consequence of that is that actually you get more of the dial. I guess the second thing I like is that the size is really good. I don't think it's 39mm, I think it's closer to 38. So what you've got is something that doesn't wear like a traditional dive style sports watch, because it's a little bit thinner. I know people are shouting at me that it's not a dive watch, that it's a sort of tool watch. Yeah, fair enough. But even so, at sort of 38mm, it's a nice size. It's not too big, it's not too small, and so I think will appeal to a lot of people. And again, I think the third thing is I do have to recognise that Pagani Design really do produce some remarkable specifications on their watches. This is 100 metres water resistance. It does have screw down pushers, and my PD1674, which has been a regular for me, this is very similar movement to that. You just get a lot for your money. I just wish they'd add a little bit more and get a decent bracelet or a decent rubber strap on it. and some decent loom. But it's hard to argue that £51 or $70, whatever you pay for this, the specs are fantastic. It's a bit of a spec monster. So I'm going to have a go at summing this one up. So when I first got this out of the box, I kind of looked at it and thought, yeah, it's okay, I thought. And having worn it for about a week now, it's growing on me more. The question that was in my head was, how many VK63 movement backed chrono watches from Pagani Design do I really need? Particularly the Rolex homages, because I really like, and you'll know this because I bang on about it on a fairly regular basis, I really like the 1645, or possibly 1644. That Daytona homage is just really, really nice. But I have to say, over the course of the last week, that this one is really growing on me. And I don't think it's a question about saying, actually, why do I need two of these? I'm trying to think of a good reason. Do I like one of them enough, or do I dislike one of them enough to say, actually, I don't want to keep them? And actually, I don't. They're both different, and I really, really wish that the new one had the Jubilee strap that the 1644 came on, which is just joyful to wear. So comfortable and easy to fit. I do wish that the new one had a much better strap, but it's a really nice watch. It's growing on me at a rapid rate of knots. So for me, I think, having got past my initial reaction to it, and spent a bit of time with it on my wrist, I think it is a keeper, and I am easily able to recommend it. It will be going on a rubber strap, because I think that deals with two of its specific weaknesses for me. But I think once I've got it on that, it will be a keeper, and it will remain in my collection. So that's it from me. Lots more new content coming up. I have had a bumper delivery from the AliExpress June sale. The Balkany double unboxing you will have seen last week, but there is more to come. So have a fantastic weekend, and we hope to see you tuned in for later videos. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.